night game under the lights in Beaver Stadium, one of the toughest environments for any team to face in college football.
There are programs and schools all over the country that are trying to replicate what we do.
It's going to be a steep climb for the Mountaineers in Happy Valley, especially with the defense loaded with next-level talent. An old rivalry is renewed in primetime in the season opener. 12 games over the next 13 weeks. It's time for Nittany Game Week. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nittany Game Week. I'm Todd Sadowski alongside former Nittany Lions assistant coaches Jay Paterno and Tom Bradley. Big responsibility for you this week, sir, Mr. Honorary Captain. How you feeling about it?
I promise not to screw it up. I'll be okay out there. I just have to go out there and stand. That's all I got to do.
Well, I can tell you the bar has officially been lowered in Penn State. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. I think it's a great thing. It's going to be great to have them, and I think it's going to add to the excitement before the game.
It most certainly will, and I can't wait to hear that roar because there's going to be a nice roar for you. Look, 12 of the next 13 weekends, we have Penn State football. It starts in primetime against West Virginia. The last time these two teams played, Kerry Collins was your quarterback 31 years ago. Let's talk about the Nittany Lions and Mountaineers in our opening drive. Big 12 opponent, old rivalry renewed, top 10 ranking to start the season, and oh, by the way, the game's in prime time on national television, more than enough to get the adrenaline flowing, Jay.
No question, and this is a big night for Penn State, obviously, because it's prime time, but also it's a big night for the Big Ten because they made the move to go to prime time with NBC and that kind of stuff, and NBC's going to throw everything they have at it. So it's going to be a great production, going to be a great environment. It's going to show up well on television.
Just checking the weather is supposed to be perfect for football. So it's going to be an awesome environment.
And NBC has got Mike Robinson and Todd Blackledge on the production.
He always has to talk about those quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
You got to get those Penn Staters in there. Look, 107,000, full capacity. It's a special place and a huge home field advantage.
There are programs and schools all over the country that are trying to replicate what we do, and it's hard to do. So we are fortunate and blessed to have the type of support that we have from our alumni and from our lettermen and from the state of Pennsylvania and really from the region. We don't take that for granted, but it'll be a great environment for college football, let alone specifically for Penn State and the Big Ten. So I think we've done all the things we can do. Now we just got to go do it.
Now, awesome way to get things underway, especially when there's so much preseason hype surrounding the Nittany Lions.
Well, let's start with Tom's favorite side of the ball, not mine. But, you look at this defense, Tom. I know if I were trying to coordinate against it, there's big-time players at all three levels. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, that's one of the things they have. Not only is there big-time players at all three levels, they have a lot of depth on defense, too, where they can get players in and out of there. They can do a lot of different things. And Manny, Coach Diaz, is going to have a lot of different options with this group because some of those guys are multi-positional guys that can do different things.
Yeah, don't forget the 2022 Nittany Lions finished the regular season with blowout after blowout, outscoring four Big Ten opponents 165-40. Before beating Utah in the Rose Bowl, the Mountaineers recognize the level of talent.
They'll probably be the most talented group we play, and I may be conservative in this, but they got 9 draft picks probably and they're too deep on defense. That's not me up here just talking. I mean, that's legit.
High praise for a high-powered defensive unit that can't wait to get their hands on the Mountaineers, the skills players. And it makes Tom light up to see a defense so dominant, especially up front. Jay, interesting development for Coach Yurcich, calling plays on offense, no longer doing it from the sidelines. He's going to head up to the booth. Why is this significant, and what's the advantage of having that bird's eye view?
Well, it's a lot easier to call the game from there because it's less chaotic. That's the biggest thing. It allows you to kind of focus in on what's going on and see things up there. I've done it both ways. Probably with a new quarterback, that communication is going to have to make sure they get that right between series. That's going to be the real challenge for them.
I know we could never get you off the sidelines, right?
I would rather be on the sideline because I like to look at my guys when I talk to them and look at their eyes. Because a lot of times upstairs, if you talk, I got it. But when you're down there with them and looking at them, you can tell sometimes they don't really have what you're trying to get across to them.
Yeah, and so you have to have that trust down on the sidelines with you to call the plays, and Danny O'Brien's going to help in with Penn State, and I think they're comfortable with making this switch.
And sometimes you like just being away from the head coach when things aren't going well, because it's hard for them to get up to you.
Well, we're going to see how it works out. So look, the stage is set for an entertaining night at Beaver Stadium. And the 107,000 fans at the game on Saturday night may hear something unfamiliar coming from the speakers. Andrew Callista is here to introduce us to the new voices of Beaver Stadium.
Welcome to Beaver Stadium, home of the greatest show in college football.
It's a new voice to greet Penn State Nation to the 2023 season.
Been in Penn State land and Happy Valley pretty much my whole life, and knowing how big Penn State football is, not only here but across the nation, there's really not much bigger, and there's a reason it's the greatest show in college football.
Joe Putnam, a Bellefonte native, has paid his dues in Happy Valley.
Cross, wrestling, I've done women's basketball, public address announcing.
And he is excited to make his debut under the lights against West Virginia.
No other experience like a night game at Beaver Stadium, and to have that right from the get-go, right from the opening kickoff, I don't think there's any experience we would prefer more than that.
While Putnam's voice handles one side of the duties,
First down, Nittany Lions.
it will be Rodney Martin, originally of Mechanicsburg, handling the action on the field.
I never would have thought when I got here that I would have had the opportunity to get this role.
Martin has been the voice of Penn State hockey for nearly 25 years. To mic up in front of 100,000 plus is a dream come true.
Not only because of the tradition of Penn State football, but just the fact that it's such an incredible atmosphere. I mean, just to be a part of that is just, I'm over the moon for the opportunity, and I can't wait for it to happen.
A new feel in Beaver Stadium for sure, and the first change in over 2 decades. And fans, week 1 will be a little bit different than week 2, but that is all I could say. Just wait and see.
All right, thanks, Andrew. What a thrill for those guys to be part of the game day and game night experience. Still to come, our coaches break down the Mountaineers, why the WVU offensive line could give Penn State some fits. That's up next in our scouting report. It's been over 3 decades since Penn State faced West Virginia. Still a head-scratcher to think of the Mountaineers in the Big 12, but I know these two guys remember this rivalry very well. Can't help but think of the Lambert Trophy when you think of Nittany Lions versus WVU. These players are a little young to remember how fierce this game used to be, guys.
It used to be, but Penn State won the vast majority of them, so a lot of good memories. But let's talk specifically about now, here and now. West Virginia last year, offensively, put points on the board, not a lot of production in terms of that, of yardage, -8 in the turnover margin. And then let's talk about the guys coming back. When you look at this game Saturday night, you want to start with the offensive line. The vast majority of the starts coming back, not the overwhelming majority are up front. And that's where we're going to start, Tom, right off the bat with the offensive line.
Front, though. You know, to me, the guy you want to watch up front is I pay really good attention to the center. He is an All-American in my book. The left tackle is a heck of a football player. And one of the things that, when the transfer that came in from LSU, the 6'7" tight end, I'm sure he's not there to catch a lot of passes. I think he's there to run the ball.
So let's take a look at the surge you get up front, and with the quarterback as a run threat, they have to respect that. And watch what happens on this one. The offensive line comes up the field, they push up there, and now, Tom, there's your secondary guy who has to respect the quarterback, and he's a little bit out of position, and there goes the running back.
Yeah, and that's the thing that they have to be very careful this week. He's only 5'11". You want to keep this guy in the pocket, and I think, as we said, lanes just aren't for cars this week.
Yep, and let's talk about that as we look at this quarterback. Just talked about the threat he creates. Now they go to an empty set, which normally you're thinking pass. but with his ability, and you see these guys get up to the second level, Tom, talk about how important that is.
It's going to be very important to contain him because that's the one thing he wants to do. He's not tall. You want to keep him inside that pocket. Make him beat you throwing the ball because their wide receiver situation right now is not the best on this team.
Yeah, and I think that when you get into third downs, that's going to be important. So let's talk about him as a scrambler. Tom talked about the lanes, talk about the mobility, scramble, adjust when guys come out, when he gets out of the pocket, got to stay with your receivers and watch what happens here, Tom. You talk about this.
Well, you know, that's the thing that happens a lot of times what people do when he starts running, they start to come up right away, then he doesn't cross the line of scrimmage and gets it downfield and he gets himself a nice play. He creates a lot of plays.
And that's one of the things about it. You know, that's how you get some big plays sometimes with those mobile quarterbacks. Now let's talk about defensively, scheme-wise, Tom. 3 down guys, a lot of multiple sets. This is, you know, I know when we played against this multiple set, we were able to run the ball, and you look, they had trouble stopping the run last year, did not do very well defensively, gave up a lot of points, and again, had trouble creating turnovers.
This is the thing I see with them, Jay, is right what you said. Right here, this is not the strength of their team. The strength of this defense is going to be the multiple looks that they can give you, okay? And that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to take some chances and move a bunch of these guys. This 3-5 or 3-4, whatever you want to call it, there's so many different things you can do with it.
Yeah, so as you look at this, teams were able to really gash them defensively and run the football against them. And I think that's going to be something with Penn State's veteran offensive line. This is going to be a matchup that is a real advantage, should be a real advantage for Penn State. So let's talk about some of the other things they do. They can drop 8 a lot. And with a young quarterback, the one thing you don't want to see is a lot of multiple coverage, a lot of dropping 8, and that creates a read problem for you, Tom.
Yeah, it sure does, especially as you know, being a quarterback coach, you know, who are you going to ID? You know, because of the multiple people moving around and doing different things. And when you can drop 8, it creates a lot of looks that you're just not used to seeing.
Yeah, you just got to be careful. You don't. This is the one thing Penn State can't do is turn the ball over and encourage them. So last thing we'll talk about, if Penn State is running the ball, they're going to come up, and now they're vulnerable because safety's one-on-one, no pass help. And Tom, as you know, I always tell quarterbacks, if safeties could cover, they'd be playing corner. Yes. So if Penn State can get those matchups, I think we're in good shape. Penn State will be good. Play action pass should be good.
It should be terrific, especially with the great Penn State running game.
Yeah, and if you can do those, you know, keep throwing the ball on first and second downs with a young quarterback, it gives you better coverage advantages. So I'd look for that on Saturday. And as we always do, we look to our captain, Todd Sadowski.
The takeaway, lanes aren't just for cars this game.
Yes.
That's what I got from the takeaway. Well done, guys. All right, anytime you can invite a non-conference traditional rival to play in Happy Valley, it's a win for the fans. It's not exactly cheap. That's the point. Fans are willing to pony up for an excellent matchup. Take a look at the going price for a seat in row EE. It's a 50-yard line seat at Beaver Stadium, right in the middle of the helmet stripe for this season opener. Iowa and the whiteout at the top of the list. The Michigan game expected to be a huge matchup in November, of course. Then it's the Mountaineers with UMass in there at a little over $200. A couple of Big Ten division opponents under 200. Indiana Rutgers with the Delaware game the least expensive. Proof that if you schedule it, they will pay. Nittany Lions ready to roar under the lights to start off 2023. It is time for our Impact interview. This guy knows NFL talent when he sees it. We asked Steelers GM Omar Khan about the Nittany Lions players on his current roster and why his college experience was integral to his career path in the front office. Nittany Game Week returns after this.
Impact Interview is sponsored by the Pocono Mountains, where small-town charm meets big adventures. Book your trip today by visiting PoconoMountains.com.
Well, welcome back to Nittany Game Week. Time for our Impact interview. And this week we have the distinct pleasure of speaking with Steelers General Manager Omar Khan. So this man knows NFL talent when he sees it. He's also obviously a very good judge of character because he's good friends with our very own Tom Bradley. Omar, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me on. It's an honor.
Well, look, let's get right to the Penn State discussion, right? It's a Penn State show. We want to know about the Nittany Lions on the roster. A couple of veterans there with Pat Freiermuth, who you guys drafted and have developed, and then Allen Robinson, of course, now with the squad, and then the rookie, Joey Porter Jr., and what a story that is with his dad. So talk about the Nittany Lions you have in there and the qualities that they bring to an NFL team.
Sure. You know, they're all we all expect them. We expect them to contribute all a little differently in their own way. But the thing that's really really cool about these guys is, they're really good players on the field, but they're character guys too. Muth and A-Rob and, Joey Jr. He doesn't like it that we call him Junior. He's just Joey. But they're just great people too. But we're excited about what the future holds with them, and we're excited about September 10th, and we'll see where it all goes.
Omar, Jay Paterno here. Just, you've been living in Pittsburgh for a while, and, certainly from Friday Night Lights to Penn State, Pitt, and the Steelers, that football holds such a special place in Western Pennsylvania. Even though you grew up in New Orleans, haven't been in Pittsburgh now, do you still, when the calendar starts to turn and you see the Friday Night Lights and the college football games coming and certainly Steeler games, do you still feel that same electricity in Western PA that you always have?
Oh, absolutely. It's a beautiful thing here. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday. I'll tell you what's hard is when we get into the spring, after the football season's over, you go through a little withdrawal knowing that there's no footballs on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But it's a great time to be in Western PA this time of year. And, it's exciting. Friday nights, Saturday nights, Sunday nights, it's what we talk about, right, in the community. It's what you talk about football Monday through Sunday pretty much.
Omar, good to see you again. And the question's an easy one for you. You have, as you see in pros, what's developing here is now you see a lot of young quarterbacks being able to come in and play right away. Do you see that trend continuing? And do you think it has a lot to do with the way they've come through high school and college with throwing the ball so much more than they used to?
Well, I think that trend's definitely going to continue. And I think one thing that factors into it is that I'd say guys are more mobile than they were consistently throughout the league than they were years ago. And, that mobility helps these guys get on the field a little sooner because they can create with their legs and do some special and unique things. And I definitely see that continuing.
Look, Omar, the preseason, you had two sets of brothers. You got the Watts, you got Joey Porter Jr. with a connection with his dad. Obviously, the Rooneys set the tone. Such a family atmosphere when it comes to the Steelers. And I guess that standard is set right from the top all the way down. Is that something that's just built into the fabric of this organization and you feel it right away as soon as you come in?
Yeah, you said it. Tom, you've been around it. It's just such a family atmosphere around here. And, we don't shy away from the brothers. And, I think Coach said it like last week when I think it was during either the second or third preseason game on the sideline. I think they caught him saying when one of the Herbigs made a play, he turned around on the sideline and he goes, "Any of you other guys have a little brother around here that that I should know about?" It's we're a family organization and we don't shy away from it.
Omar, this is a little bit of you giving some young viewers some career advice. You were at Tulane, and even before you graduated, you already started working with the Saints. How important to your career development, your career path, was it to get involved in what was essentially internship or getting started on your career even before you left college? How much did that mean, and how much did that impact your career trajectory coming out of college?
It was absolutely tremendous for me. I can tell you this, the sooner, when you're young, the sooner you start getting experience in this field, the better. Not only from a knowledge standpoint, but the other factor here is from the networking standpoint. The sooner you're in it, you start getting to know people. And I learned early on that 5-10 years from now, you'd be amazed at where certain people end up. And you never know when they can help you, when there's an opportunity. A lot of times, we don't hire. There's plenty of qualified people out there, but we don't hire them because we just don't have anything available. But when some comes available, you like to hire people that are fresh in your mind, people that you've gotten to know. But I'd say, just the opportunity, when you get started young, just the opportunity to get to know the right people is an opportunity, and it's key.
A great discussion with the Steelers GM. Really appreciate his time. We're going to step aside for the TV show to take a break. If you want to see the entire conversation, make sure to go to NittanyGameWeek.com for the entire interview, along with our other web-exclusive content. Don't go anywhere. We still need to hand out our scrap medal. We use some scrap video to give you a hint for this week's winner. We're heading into the final minutes of Nittany Game Week.
Scrap Metal is sponsored by the We Are In. voted #1 game day restaurant in Center County. Follow us on Facebook and visit thewearein.com or call for dinner or room reservations.
Scrap and I had connected and we talked, and I just said, man, why are you not coming back? Like, Scrap is Penn State. I consider Scrap a really good friend, and I'm happy that, I asked him, and James and the football program wanted him to do the coin toss for West Virginia.
Excited about having Tom Bradley, Scrap, and Allen Robinson being the honorary captains. That should be really cool. Obviously, getting a guy like Allen Robinson back is always important, but then having a guy like Scrap, who I've been able to develop a relationship since I came into town, obviously with his history and connections to the program is awesome as well, and I'm glad we're doing that.
Well, there you have it. The Scrap Medal is an easy choice. Jay and I went with the executive decision on this one. We're going with Scrap. We told him it was someone else. It's your week. Enjoy it every single second.
What do you get for this award anyway?
Right, listen, he thought it was going to be Chop Robinson. He's like, what should I say? I said, don't worry. And we just hoovered that whole thing away from him, swept it away from him, and he had no way.
Chop will have his chance. We expect him to probably get one, but
Yeah.
this week it's you. Enjoy the experience,
Thank
okay?
you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we can't wait to see you on the field at Beaver Stadium. All right, and we're going to see these guys on the field. Here are the players and matchups to watch for, Jay, as we examine the Mountaineers and Nittany Lions one last time.
The strength of West Virginia's offense is the O-line. Strength of Penn State's defense may be up front. They got a transfer wideout, Devin Carter from NC State, played a lot, his 44 starts. And then can Penn State's wideouts handle their secondary and beat them? And I think, how does their quarterback play?
In addition to a television show, we're bringing Nittany Lions together with our depth chart at NittanyGameWeek.com. We're connecting businesses that support the show with our viewers. Our goal to build a team that keeps our hometowns strong. You can find out much more about the businesses in our depth chart and much more at our website, NittanyGameWeek.com. We have a lot to share with you when it comes to college football. Make sure to visit and consume our web-exclusive content. We got Prime Time that joined us. We got some promotional material. A nice look, Jay, for you.
They sent this to you guys, Todd, and I stole it. So guess what? I'm Coach Prime now.
Yeah, there he is. Nice promotional material for you. We got it.
Oh, this is going home with me. You've seen the last of this.
That's a look. I'm not sure how long I'm going to keep
You'll
it.
probably wear it to the game Saturday night.
There's your pride pick. Take it in your pride pick. Submit your pride picks. For Tom, for Andrew, for Jay, I'm Todd. Thanks so much for watching Nittany Game Week. We'll see you next time.